I like having another female in the studio, Abigail. That's very good. Let's quickly go over that weather forecast. Not a lot to talk about. Coming out just a little bit earlier than 6:30. Didn't want you to have to sit through about 7 minutes worth of commercials. But don't forget, First National Bank right here on Highway 72. Go visit them, our local bank. And weather, 61 degrees out there right now. Going to be an absolutely beautiful day. Plenty of sunshine, only 10% chance of rain. High temperatures of 87 with your low, of course, of 59. Tomorrow we could just say ditto, 80, plenty of sunshine, absolutely gorgeous. Look at the extended forecast. No rain until possibly Tuesday, and that may be as good as it gets. Now, there could be those pop-up showers. We do have 10% chance, but I kind of doubt it. Two events we're going to talk about right now. Of course, I have Ed with me this morning, and then, of course, Hobbs. And we're going to go in length with Rock in just a moment, but Ed's been up here with us before, and you are actually from Birmingham, so you're getting to meet a lot of people here watching the show, I'm sure, and it'll be interesting to share his story with you in just a moment. But Ed, you're up here to talk about fishing. I'm going fishing Saturday.
I hope you come.
I hope so too.
With the whole public, everybody's welcome. It doesn't cost anything, and we're going to have a. I usually have this every year. We skipped 1 year due to pond and the drought and everything else, but then.
We're talking about the annual kids fishing rodeo.
Annual kid fishing rodeo. Now we have about 4 activities during the year. We'll get to that in a minute. But the kids, they come on there and they fish, and things are furnished. We've got all kinds of gifts and presents, and we've worked real hard this year with all the crew of going out and getting donations and getting prizes. And we got 2 groups, 5 to 8, 9 to 15, and there's going to be first 3 places, first, second, third, largest fish, the smallest fish, and the most fish. Matter of fact, last year a little girl caught a fish and it was less than an inch long.
Aww. But still, she caught it.
And she got the prize.
All right.
Another girl caught one that weighed about 12 pounds and broke the pole. But the kids have we average between 45 and 65 kids. The highest we've had was about 73.
Oh, great.
And it's a busy, busy day, and then we fish from 9 to 12, and then we have a cookout, hot dogs and hamburgers, whatever we can get a hold of.
Now you have to register. Our registration starts at register for this. Registration starts
9 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. Okay, 9 o'clock. 9 to 12. Now you can get out there a little bit later, couldn't you? You don't have to get there right at 9.
No. Anytime you show up, if it's still 15 minutes left of fishing, we'll just let you go on because we want everybody we can. And we've got enough gifts for the first 3 places. Nice gifts. Well, they're all good, but we give every child something, some type of a gift. And so if we've got plenty, and we've had a lot of good donations on the biscuits and cakes.
You're going to feed them too.
Oh, yeah, we're going to feed them hot dogs. And
where do people go?
Right there, if you're coming down Nick Davis Road, take Oakdale Road to the right and come down to the widest driveway on the left-hand side. That's Kennedy Road. And you just drive straight on in. Now, we're going to have the roads marked.
Great.
On several corners, so they'll know where the Kid Rodeo is, and they'll be able to get there. And the activity is going to be outstanding. And we patronize of course, our veterans. We always do.
Yes, sir.
And we have facilities there. We have ramps and everything else where they don't have to worry about falling or getting hurt, and insurance also. So it's going to be a great activity the whole day. And very busy.
It's going to be a lot of fun too, and that's ages 5 to 15. So if you have a child that can participate in that on Saturday, that's when it will take place. I hope we can get out there. That'll be fun.
The only thing you got to bring is their fishing poles.
Okay.
We'll furnish everything else.
Frank, I'll need to borrow yours. Okay. And you wouldn't know anything about kids. You only come from a family of how many?
20.
20.
Oh.
Wow, I knew Rock didn't know that, so that'd be interesting to everyone out there.
Yeah, we're down to 10 now. We're getting smaller.
You are how old, Ed?
Ma'am?
How old are you?
I'm young 80 years old.
He doesn't want to tell us. 80 years old. You're doing absolutely wonderful and great shape. Where is the best place to get a lawnmower or win one?
There's a place up in Springfield, Massachusetts.
No, that's right here on Highway 72.
Dixie Auto in Athens, Alabama.
Peggy and Bill are going to get you for that.
Boy, they got the best. That's not only the best They got the best service.
They sure do, and been in
They
business for a
back
long
up
time.
everything they sell, and they're real fine Christian folks. I
Good
think
folks.
the world of them.
All right. Well, you know what? Talking about you being from such a large family, and you have children of your own.
Do what?
You have children of your own, and
Well, I
raising kids
adopted
and-
2, and I lost my daughter in '86 in a car accident. But I do have a large boy.
a large boy. Well, you know how difficult it can be in this time to raise children, correct?
Oh, it's difficult. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to know that I had to put one through college right now.
That's right. Well, Mr.
know,
Hobbs here is we're going to be talking about a ministry that he's starting.
Oh.
And you are actually from Birmingham, correct?
I'm down in Birmingham. Yep.
Okay. What is it now? Jerry Bryant got me in touch with you and said you need to have him on the show. He's got a good ministry to talk about. And you know, we talk a lot of times here on the air about parents and children that are going through drug issues. That seems to be one of the major problems here for parents, especially if you have teenagers and they're starting so much younger now, and by the time they're in their 20s,
Yep.
you can't do anything. But you have a little bit of experience with that. Tell me your story.
Well, 21 years of Air Force being a fighter pilot and a long time flying 747s around the world, alcohol caught up with me. And my experience with that is what the Lord called me to leave United and come minister to families that kind of went through what I went through. The struggle of the destruction of alcoholism and drug addiction, the way it tears up a family, the way the parents are desperate for help and they don't know what to do. They've got these wonderful kids they've been growing up with and teaching them and going to church with them and all that, and the next thing you know, they're getting phone calls from a sheriff and they're in jail and there's a DUI and there's court, and what do I do, what do I do? And the church tries to meet that need, but there's so many other things the churches are doing that need, I think the parents are just left behind. And nobody wants to talk about, I got a child with addiction problem. And our ministry is really to help the families touched by addictions.
At what age did you go through your struggles?
My struggle, I was older. I mean, I was in my 20s to 40. But
So it did last that long.
I was 18 years, definitely, yeah. Now, I was very functioning, you know.
A functional alcoholic.
But like I teach guys all the time, you will fall.
catch up with you.
You'll fall no matter what.
When you talk about children being on drugs, what do you think, or what have you seen? What is the biggest mistake parents make?
Trying to believe that their kid really doesn't have a problem. It's the denial phase, just saying, that wasn't his fault, it was somebody else's fault. And most parents really just want to sweep everything under the rug.
Don't want their neighbors to know.
Don't want the neighbors to know, don't want people in the church to know. Daddy will go pay the sheriff or pay the fines and get a good lawyer, and then kind of hush-hush and think, okay, that's done.
Until the next arrest.
And all we do is come alongside the family and help the parents. We have support groups for that. We come alongside of all individuals that are struggling with addiction, because we minister to adults as well. We do a lot of marriage counseling for marriages where a spouse has got a problem, and the wife or the husband is just torn apart by this addiction, because addiction means I'm picking that over you.
Over everything else.
And we just really have to work through that, and I do a lot of interventions, you know, helping with the family, getting people into resources where they need to go. And then the ranch vision is to actually have a facility where we use equestrian and canine therapies to minister to these kids, and eventually even adults. My heart's actually shifting a little bit from the teens. I mean, we're still doing the teens, but that 18 to 28 boomerang generation that's ending up in our basements, goes to college for 7 years and still on the second year of their education, and they can't get a job, and then they just come sit in mom and dad's house.
At what point do you tell parents to say, that's it, stop?
Well,
I know probably every situation. I figured we'd be joined.
yeah. Well, I always say there's no formula, there's no equation, and everything needs to be based on love. But, you know, if a child adult child is making decisions for themselves that are destructive, and a parent lets them continue to stay in their house, continue to feed them, continue to supply all their needs, and not have them work and not have some kind of an agreement, then they're just enabling that lifestyle. And what we've seen is, in the last 10 years that I've been doing this, is all it does is prolong the process of them falling to a place where they will be desperate enough to get changed, to ask for change.
But I know you've probably heard from so many parents, but what happens when I throw him out? What if he doesn't make it? What if he overdoses?
Well, as Christians, that's where the God part comes in. That's where we have to begin to learn to trust God with our children. Just like Abraham took Isaac and put him on the altar, and he said, God, you've asked for this, I'm giving him back to you. I've waited 99 years to get him, but now you're asking for him back, I'll give it to him.
But it was that faith he did it.
By faith, that's right. And so we just kind of help the parents realize that. Everything we do ultimately is based on love. Why? So that the child will change and come back to the family, so we can have normal, real relationship. That's the ultimate goal. It's not about punishing them because they're wrong. It's not about kicking them out in tough love. We don't teach tough love. We teach God's love.
Yeah, that's interesting, especially since they know once they leave one home, they can go to a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle or a brother or a sibling, and there's always someone there for a backup plan to get them.
And we help them pull the whole family together and say, oh, we're all in this together.
What it takes.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okay, I know you've been quiet.
Well, I could ask you 1,000 questions about that because I've got living that nightmare now myself. However, I want to change subject and ask you about this, that I've never heard of this happening before. You're a pilot. Did you hear what happened in Paris the other day? An emergency layover in Syria's capital was bad enough, this time over the weekend. The passengers on Air France Flight 562 were asked, Rob, to open their wallets to check and see if they had enough cash to pay for more fuel.
Yeah, that's certainly
Have you ever heard of
that? I haven't heard of that one, but I was flying the 747 one time out of Chicago to Tokyo, and there was a typhoon hitting it, and we had to divert into this little field in the middle of Japan where they didn't even speak English. And they were we were kind of doing that because we couldn't figure out how to get refueled to get out of there to go back to Tokyo, and we had 440 passengers on board. And I could kind of see if you diverted into a field, yeah, okay, we'll pay cash here.
This happened last year too. The passengers kicked in $31,000 to fund a flight to England. They were stranded for 6 hours from India to Britain, and they had to come up with the money from the passengers.
That's hilarious. I do know that there was.
You're the only pilot I'm going to have on in the near future that knows anything about this. So I'm going to ask the question.
Well, it happened. There was a captain for Braniff before it went under way back when, and they had a whole bunch of Braniff people stuck in Hawaii on a 747 when Braniff said we're closed and we're no more flights, and the captain said, I'm buying the gas out of my pocket to fly these employees back to the States, and he did. He paid for it out of his own pocket.
Wow.
Filled up that 747, 60,000 gallons of fuel, and flew all those guys back.
Of money anyway, y'all can afford it.
We used to. They don't anymore.
All right, so you will take my 21-year-old and straighten him out, right?
I won't.
You know, when I call people, I don't use that excuse, he's with the wrong crowd. I call other people and say, your kid is with my kid. He is the wrong crowd. That's bad.
That is a problem.
Oh, boy. I got one thing.
Come on, join us.
I only got 20 minutes left.
Hey, we got loved once every 19 days. Because
let's set the story straight. You were one of 20 kids, the same mama and daddy.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
I'll tell you a real quick thing. My sisters are now, the ones that are left, are now compiling how many nieces and nephews there are. Now, they're way over 250 already.
Oh.
But they have not even touched the great nieces. If
Do y'all see each other on a regular basis?
No. when I go up there, somebody will grab my pant leg and say, hey, Uncle Ed, and I have to identify yourself and who's your parents.
Well, thank both of y'all for coming up, Rock. It's been a pleasure having you.
We need to get out what is your website address so people, you're trying to do a radio show, but you can also, he has a blog, you can get some more information. How can people reach you?
It's the website is www.transformationranch.org.
Okay.
My email, if they want to email me with questions about problems, is rhobbs@transformationranch.org. And my cell number, if they just want to call, I do a lot of telephonic counseling with families, is 205-470-3830.
Great.
All right, guys. We look forward to having you back up. And
love to come back
this morning. And Ed, as always.
Oh, I thought I was going to sing.
Well, you can sing at a later date. I'm booked now. We got to take a break on this Wednesday morning. Y'all hang on.
Thank you.